A group of teenaged camp counselors play Truth or Dare, and the game almost immediately turns to dares that send one member of the group to kiss another. It's the last night of camp, and the counselors are stranded until morning, making this the last opportunity to make any sparks fly. Like nearly every teen horror movie, just as soon as the relationships start to form and the kids start to get comfortable, the screaming begins.
Maybe it was the bears.
And why does everyone blame everything on bears? Okay.
You got anything better? I mean, like zombies, aliens, time-hopping Draculas?
For The Quarry, the latest story-driven horror game from Supermassive Games, the somewhat predictable setup is partially an homage to 80s-era horror and teen slasher movies like A Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and of course, Friday the 13th. It's also partially a case of not fixing something that isn't broken. In fact, a lot of The Quarry will be familiar to anyone who's played Supermassive's other games, 2015's Until Dawn, or the 3 games of the ongoing Dark Pictures anthology series. Supermassive has a pretty specific formula that works for its brand of cinematic adventure game, and it doesn't deviate from it with The Quarry, meaning that if you like its other games, you should have a fun time with this one.
Oh my god!
The Quarry sees you playing out the story of the counselors at Hackett's Quarry summer camp, with your perspective shifting between the different characters from scene to scene. You make decisions for the characters in the scenes you control them, choosing between different possible dialogue lines, or making calls like who to kiss when your inevitable dare moment comes up. The game tracks those choices and how they might change the flow of the plot or affect the relationships between characters, which you can view in various menus to see how the path you're taking through the story is shaping up.
Okay, I got this.
That shotgun's got a hell of a spread. Be careful.
We played about an hour of The Quarry, seeing a little bit of 2 of its early chapters. Like Supermassive's other titles, choice is a big element of the proceedings. Not every decision will create a massive shakeup to the story, but even making a few different dialogue choices in the small portion we played made notable differences in relationships or scenes that we saw play out. Also, as in Supermassive's other games, The Quarry has its share of action sequences, in which you need to watch and react to what's happening on screen, matching your button presses to the prompts that appear as part of the action. QuickTime events have been a staple of Supermassive's games since Until Dawn, so this isn't a surprise, although the ones we saw in The Quarry feel simplified in comparison to some of the developers' past games. QTEs are often maligned because they can be a real pain to deal with, often giving players too little time to react to prompts and causing failures. In The Quarry, QTEs seem to be made pretty easy to deal with, alleviating that frustration. As with past games, failing QTEs has consequences that can change how the narrative plays out, but it seems like Supermassive has casual players in mind as well as hardcore fans of its titles, making playing the game comfortable even for people who might have a harder time handling a controller.
Ooh, that's a nice chair. I could get used to this.
You better hope Mr. H doesn't catch you taking his baby out for a joyride.
Where The Quarry breaks a bit with Supermassive's usual approach is having a slightly heavier emphasis on combat mechanics, specifically on shooting firearms. Usually, Supermassive's games are all contextual. While there might be moments that could be called combat, like firing a gun or struggling with an enemy, they're usually just additional QTEs. The Quarry suggests it'll emphasize those moments a little more than usual, even including a quick combat video tutorial to teach you how to use firearms in the game.
Point to you, Nick.
The portion we played included a scene in which a couple of characters have a shooting contest with a shotgun, and then later included a moment in which we could shoot at a villainous character in a heated moment. How well you shoot, or whether you shoot at all, is as consequential as other gameplay interactions or decisions, and the shotgun has a wide spread, so it becomes pretty ineffective at long ranges, and might risk you hitting something or someone you didn't mean to if you fire it at the wrong time. Still, even though there's more focus on shooting than in past games, you probably shouldn't expect combat in The Quarry to be something you engage in a lot. In the scene we saw, shooting was really another decision point opportunity, pushing you to act fast in order to do any damage with the shotgun when you have the opportunity to use it, or to consider whether you should resist pulling the trigger instead. If you've played the other Supermassive games, all of this is pretty much to be expected. As mentioned, these elements have all proven to work well to create scary, cinematic experiences, and Supermassive always puts a big emphasis on player choice and player success and failure to craft its stories, so it's possible to create some distinct pathways through its past games depending on what you decide to do along the way. That seems like it'll hold true for the Quarry as well, although our preview didn't quite give enough of a look to really see how decisions will cascade or relationships will affect the flow of the plot.
It is pretty spooky down here, though, and it smells very unnatural, so... Yeah, okay, I'm coming back up.
What was clear, however, is that the Quarry nails the feel of the movies on which it's drawing most of its inspiration. The game is populated with a lot of fun, well-drawn characters, with possibly the most star-studded and expansive cast yet for one of these games. The performances in the preview made what could have been some relatively hackneyed teenage drama feel organic and relatable.
Hey, don't let the cute, preppy aesthetic fool you. It's like a steel barbecue grill under that shirt.
So, you noticed that too, huh?
The entire game is also presented as if you're playing it on an old 1990s PC and watching scenes poorly recorded on VHS tapes. When you make a key decision that will affect the plot, for instance, things slow down for a moment. The picture tracking skews as if the heads of your tape player were a bit dirty, and the pixelated words "Path Chosen" appear in the font that used to be emblematic to VHS players' on-screen menus. Those small visual throwbacks to movies and media of the past are a nice, unobtrusive touch that do a lot to help sell that classic slasher feel.
You're not scared of clowns?
What? No, they're funny.
You think this is supposed to be funny?
The Quarry feels a lot like Until Dawn, in all the ways that make that game a lot of scary fun. You've got your teen character drama, your sticky burgeoning relationships, and your inevitable gruesome murders. All the elements that make teen horror stories like this work. We didn't get a chance to see any of the features that could make the Quarry stand out from Supermassive's other games, such as the movie mode that allows you to make general choices about the story ahead of time and then just watch them play out without interacting. But the familiar elements and tropes of the developers' titles and the movies that inspire them all still work as well as they did 7 years ago, which make the Quarry seem like it'll be a fun, if slightly more casual, teen horror romp through dark woods filled with vicious creatures.